Welcome back to Civil Wars. I'm William Spaniel, and this lecture is on fighting wars with no intention to win. It might be puzzling at first why a weak actor with very little hope of achieving military victory often fights a much more powerful actor. You can think about this on the small scale, so a small insurgency fighting a reasonably sized government, or you can think about this on a bigger scale, like North Vietnam fighting against the United States. In both of those situations, you are looking at a weak actor that has very little hope of defeating a strong actor, and yet the weak actor is very happy to engage in conflict. Why on earth is that the case? Well, hopefully by now you've learned that the point of a war is not to win a war. It is to do better at the bargaining table. You want to negotiate a settlement because negotiated settlements save the costs of fighting. Fighting is costly. You want to avoid those costs. But you might actually pay those costs. You might engage in warfare if doing so is going to give you a better spot at the bargaining table, put you in a more powerful bargaining position, and force the other side to give you more concessions. So in the principle of convergence, we fight for a little while, we learn about each other, and now that we know a little bit more about each other, we are updating our information, and that's going to change our behavior at the bargaining table. So we fight wars to resolve whatever the original cause of war is, and if it's uncertainty, if it's incomplete information about one side's strength, then it might be the case that a weak actor fights to prove that it is not even weaker than the other side believes it to be. So you could be looking at a situation where one party is either weak or very weak, and you'll see the weak actor still choose to fight a war, not because the weak actor believes it can win, but what it wants to demonstrate to the other side is it's not even weaker. It actually cares about the issues, it's willing to put forward the effort and pay the costs of conflict to get a better settlement, and it is going to demonstrate its relatively greater strength than that very weak side by actually engaging in conflict and demonstrating that strength. So a weak actor might fight a war to demonstrate that it's not even weaker. And once that information has been shown credibly, the other side is going to update its beliefs and provide a bigger offer at the bargaining table, and then the sides can settle short of yet further conflict. Now, there's actually a lot of empirical support for this theory. So most interstate wars, not civil wars, but interstate wars, actually end in negotiated settlement short of complete military defeat of one side. Most wars aren't like World War I or World War II, where the sides just keep fighting until one side has been completely militarily defeated. Most wars end in negotiated settlements, and we think this is the reason why. You fight for a while, you learn a little bit about each other, you learn about how costly war is going to be, you learn about your relative probabilities of victory, and then you settle. One slight detail, however, is that most civil wars do not end in a negotiated settlement, but rather end when one side is completely defeated militarily. And moreover, this is not because of some sort of information problem. It is not the inability for the sides to learn about each other and update their information. And we know this because of this graph from way back in one of the first lectures of this course. Notice that the average length of ongoing wars has been going up and up and up over time. So by about 2000, you're looking at 15 years. And this is, again, an average. So there are some civil wars that have been going on for decades. You cannot tell me that after a couple of decades of fighting, we're still actually uncertain about something. After 20 years of fighting, we know what the other side knows. We have learned plenty by seeing battlefield results and seeing the other side reject offers. There is nothing more that you can learn after 20 years about how strong or resolved the other side is. Any information problem that might have existed at the beginning of the conflict is gone by that point. This is rather intuitive, right? After every day of fighting, you're learning marginally less and less about the other side. The first day of fighting provides you much more information than the second day provides you. The second day provides you more information than the third day provides you, and so forth. You're not learning anything new after 20 years of fighting, and yet the states are still fighting, or rather, a government and a rebel group is still fighting. Why is that the case? Well, that's something that we want to go over, and we'll be doing that in upcoming lectures. But first, I'm going to next talk about reputation and how that might affect the breakout of conflict. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time when we start talking about reputation. Take care.